We've been hearing about agents since the end of 2024, and here we are in 2026, and I'm finally saying and announcing on the show that this is going to be the year of agents. And not because it's going to be happening, but because it's happening now. Yes, agents are finally starting to become useful. They're starting to be baked into the products that we use, and we're actually starting to leverage them in ways that are making a difference for marketers and those who want to grow their businesses. In this show, we're going to be talking about the updates that have been coming even just this month that are making a difference, and a number of different news items that are helpful for marketers. So welcome back to the AI Driven Marketer. I'm Dan Sanchez. I'm joined by my brother, Travis Sanchez.
Good morning.
And you're listening to the Bot Bros segment where we uncover the help from the hype that is all the AI news out there for those who want to grow. So, Trav, what do you think about Year of the Agents? Do you think this is reality, or do you think that I'm over hyping it a little bit now?
I think you're so right. I think the Chinese zodiac symbols need to change. You know what I mean? Add the 2026 Year of the Agents instead of horse, which is the year of the horse this year, supposedly.
Maybe it's the year of the horse because we're going to be moving faster with all these agents. Can you have a mechanical horse? Can we have a horse agent? Is that a thing?
It says AI.
I've actually seen some robots that are shaped like horses that you can ride on, but they're all videos and demos. So it's not, no one's made that yet, but I imagine that will be a thing someday.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Because a horse can go over terrain that wheels cannot. So maybe the year of the horse is appropriate for our year of agent if we're all running a lot faster. But still, we've had some pretty cool news, even just to kick things off this year. The big one that I'm opening up with is the fact that Anthropic has opened up its new tool called Claude Cowork to its $20 a month subscription level. So its first paid tier. It was, for just a hot second, only available to its $200 a month, but they brought it down. So Claude Cowork is a new tool, and it's a lot like Claude Code, which, if you don't know, a lot of these AI tools like ChatGPT and Claude have created slightly separate tools for coding. Like ChatGPT has this thing called Codex, but you can't use Codex. You have to open up a separate app. If you're paying for even the $20 a month subscription, you have access to Codex, but nobody uses it unless you're in development or whatever. But Anthropic has this new thing called Claude Cowork, which is kind of a hybrid between the two. But here's the kicker of what Cowork does. It only works for Mac right now, and you need the Mac app to do it. But Claude Cowork accesses your terminal, which is like your command prompt area. Familiar? You know what that is?
Yeah.
And if you can access command prompt or the terminal on a Mac, it can do anything.
Really?
It can control your whole computer. In fact, that's how you used to control computers. Remember the green screens back in the first grade kindergarten days where you had to load the computer by going to the green command line and being like, yes, enter, put in your floppy disk and hit execute or turn on the game, and then the game would load or whatever. That's the old way of using computers. That's still there. And a lot of every once in a while, devs will use it to do weird things on their computers. But if Claude can have access to that, then it can make files, it can move files, it can look at your whole desktop, and you could say organize it, and it will think through and be like, okay, do I have access to make folders and rearrange things? Should I put some of these into your documents? Because your documents area looks like it has folders for some of these things. Should I make a recommendations file for me to delete some things that haven't been touched in a while? You're like, yes. So it goes to work and starts moving around the files, and it'll clean up your whole desktop.
Wow.
That's an early use case. One that I'm like, okay, I can clean up my own desktop. I usually my desktop gets messy and then I clean it. It gets messy and then I clean it. That's how it goes. But it kind of shows you that, this is getting to another level. This is more agentic because it can actually go and do research, think about something, and start making files for you. Before, you could have ChatGPT go and do some research for you, but and make some canvases or whatever, but you'd have to copy and paste it and set up the docs and then maybe upload them to a drive so your team have access to them. Well, I mean, if you're connecting Google Drive down to your desktop and it's just loading into the folder, all of a sudden you're connecting multiple steps that it's now capable of taking on your behalf.
Right.
That is beginning to feel and actually kind of be agentic. It's cool. You can even have it code things right there. I did take a few swings at it because I have a subscription to Claude. I started to write the book and then I just kept it because Claude's really helpful. And this new feature came out. I'm like, well, I'm going to give it a try. So download the Mac app, run Claude Cowork, and the few things I've given it to do so far, it's like failed that miserably. I'm like, can you download WordPress and MAMP to run WordPress locally on my computer? Something I've done manually before. And it couldn't download it. It couldn't install it. It started like walking me through the process. I was like, okay, well, it's got some ways to go. But I have seen some tutorials of other people who have used it to do some pretty interesting things, especially like coming up with ideas, creating documents, creating SOPs for a whole new division of their company. Is really impressive. So I think there's a lot there, especially because you can have it create files and then go and access those files later or update those files. It's almost like, you know how in ChatGPT you run into problems with the conversation becomes too long, so it starts messing up.
Yes, 100%.
Well, with something like Claude Cowork, you can have it like take the most important pieces of the conversation, load it into a doc, start new conversations, and almost have better access to it because it can go read the docs again as like important memories and then be able to like continue working. That starts to become a big deal when it can like offload things and then bring them back when needed. It starts to feel like it has access to work more fluidly, like a human would work. So that's kind of a big deal. For a $20 a month subscription, you're like, ooh, this has got promise. Like might be going places. I'm going to be experimenting with it more aggressively and hopefully doing individual shows on this later on because I think Cowork has real potential. I'm kind of curious to see what people actually do with it though, because it's like one of those things. Like, remember when ChatGPT first landed? We were like, "Oh, this is cool! It can turn this paragraph into a limerick." Okay, cool. We didn't know what to do with it back then.
Yes,
kind of like we didn't know what to do with Facebook
it takes years before people really start. You've even seen that with like 3D printing. It's like it takes years for people to go like, "Well, what can I do with this?
Yeah,
what can I do with OpenAI?" Yeah.
It's kind of the goal of the show. I try to think really hard about how I can actually use the new tool and then just do it and share the learnings here on the show. But now I'm reporting the news and I'm telling all of you what I'm thinking about and what I'm going to be testing. If you want to like ride the front edge of the wave with me, I tend to think of myself as even like second wave because there's always the first wave of the first people who go in and organize their desktop with it. And I look at all their case studies and I go in, I'm the second wave in who starts figuring out, okay, but that's a nice general use. How do we actually use this for marketing now? So that's what I'm going to be doing over the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned for that. I did see a really interesting article, Trav, because last episode I talked about vibe coding and how I think all marketers will be vibe coding, or at least if you're a fairly intermediate or advanced user of ChatGPT or other AI tools now, by the end of the year, you will be vibe coding. That'll be like the next milestone for you. And they're getting easier to use and more effective. So one of the things I've been paying attention to is this vibe code area. I saw an interesting post on X of someone saying, hey, Claude Code gets all the glory right now. But the reason is because it's used by developers. Because Claude Code works like someone who's programming side by side with someone who knows what they're doing. Wow. It's like a side by side tool. If you know what you're doing, Claude Code's the best. But this developer wrote a long thing. He's like, I don't think that's going to work. He's like, Codex, ChatGPT's code tool, is actually better because it doesn't assume that you want to do it side by side. It just goes and does it all. And he's like, the normal person, the marketer, in my mind, I heard the marketer is going to fall in love with Claude Codex or ChatGPT's Codex because it doesn't assume you know what you're doing and it just goes and handles it all. It'll go away for hours and then come back and be like, the app's done. Rather than Claude, it's going to be like, hey, so I was thinking about setting up with XYZ and then organizing it this way. Does that sound good to you? Okay, now that I've done that, I wanted to check in with you as I'm going through.
Right, but if you're not a
normal
developer,
people don't even know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't know. You tell me. Sometimes I do that, even in Replit. I'm like, it's asking me a question. I'm like, I don't know. You decide which one's best. It's kind of annoying. And I have a friend who's been on the show. He's telling me that he loves Codex. And I'm like, this is why, because he's not a developer. He's a marketer, business person. Codex is moving along. So I haven't used Codex at all. And I'm now looking forward to, because of this article, I'm like, oh, maybe this is the thing. Because I like how ChatGPT handles a lot of things. It doesn't check back as much. It just gets it done. Even with images, I find it does better design, even though Nano Banana is technically better. ChatGPT images just kind of, it doesn't wait for you to give it more specific instructions. It just kind of improvises in a way that's actually very nice. At least that's how I'm figuring out ChatGPT versus something like Gemini or something like Claude. ChatGPT just kind of runs the ball down the field a little bit farther. And I'm kind of now wondering if that's going to be a big deal with code later on. Again, because this code thing is going to be a big reason why agents become a thing. Agents will have the ability to use code to build things that you need when you need it. So, end of the year, vibe coding, agents. And lastly, in the news, Google Gemini is now baked into Drive. Do you use Drive a lot?
Fairly regularly.
Yeah. Have you noticed how search sucks on Drive?
Yeah, like you're looking for a document specifically.
Yeah.
And what I normally do is just scroll through my recents because I can't find the doc that I'm looking for.
Exactly.
Yeah, just like everybody else.
It's like, oh no, this one's from a year ago. I'm never gonna find it. And you better hope you remember like how you organize things. But Google Drives, no matter how organized they are, and I've been to some companies that do a good job of organizing them. If you weren't the one who created that architecture for organizing, it's like you're lost in how they put stuff in there. And then there's still some messiness. Gemini is now connected. So you could just ask Gemini, like, hey, like I'm looking for a file that's kind of about this, and it will go and just start reading the files and looking for them, and it will find it. Even better, it's an agent. So you could be like, hey, read this, read this, read this, and then create a new Drive file in this folder to do this, and it will create it for you. Hey, can you find this file and then move it to this folder? First, check see if it's already in this folder. If not, then can you put it in there? I did it just the other day. This file that we're reading that has our notes for the show, I had created it, but it wasn't in the right folder. So as a test, I was like, can you find the Bot Bros file, like the most recent one that I've been working on, and like move it, check to see if it's in the Bot Bros folder? Because it should be, but I don't even know where it is. It's like lost in Drive somewhere. I just have a hyperlink to it, but I actually don't know where it's at in the Drive. Gemini, help me put it in the Bot Bros folder where I know it should be. It's like, yeah, it's not in there. You want me to move it in there? Check, hit this button to confirm. Click, done. That's getting agenty.
Wow.
It can actually think, make recommendations, and actually take action for you.
I'll have to
There's
try
small little maneuvers, but again, this is the year that I think we're actually going to have these little things all over the place.
You think it's going to jump browsers?
It already kind of does, but we'll see progress towards it.
Yeah.
Over and over again.
All right.
So the reason why there wasn't a lot of really big news. I'd say the Cowork thing was the biggest news of the week. But most marketers haven't even heard of Cowork, or let alone using that level of functionality yet. But I'm bringing it to the attention because this is going to be the way of work soon. This is the news that's going to be impacting you a few months from now. And Gemini, I think Google Drive one's like something you should experiment with immediately just to taste it and kind of take it for a run use it today, because it's actually one of those really helpful things that if you just spend 30 minutes tinkering with it, it'll be something that saves you a lot of time, like over the next weeks and for the rest of the year. So do that one right away. But the reason why I'm even bringing it up is because I think marketers are one of the things that I'm really trying to be pushing for on this show is that I think there could potentially be some job loss with marketers. And if you don't want to be part of the ones who lose their jobs, you need to start thinking in systems rather than tasks. Right. And that's going to be something big. In fact, my next book I'm going to be writing is going to be about going from tasks to systems. The reason why it's so important to think in systems is because you're going to have all these agents that can do way more work, and you will be the bottleneck. But if you can build systems for the agents to operate in effectively, can like repeatedly and run and get value out of, you'll be golden. You will be the marketer with the job, or the marketer who starts the job and becomes your own boss because you actually have systems that create value. That's what entrepreneurship is. So you have to start thinking about how to move from getting tasks done and organize your tasks into step-by-step processes that agents can actually follow to execute the kinds of things that you are already doing. But there's a mindset shift there. But that's what I'm writing about. In fact, I'm actually doing this book properly this time. I'm going to have a launch list. Go to aidrivenmarketer.com/systems. And it's early days. I'm in the brainstorming phase of this book right now. I might even do a whole show on how I'm organizing it, but go to aidrivenmarketer.com/systems, because I'm going to be talking about this a lot on the show, because I think This is the big shift most marketers need to make in order to make it into what becomes like the standard for marketers 5 years from now. So coming, systems. Sponsor of the show, of course, is High Level.
Welcome
which is
back,
one of the
High
best
Level.
systems. What?
I said,
I
welcome
know.
back, high level.
Had a little break for superpower.com, but high level is, of course, one of the best systems to organize a lot of your marketing processes around because it does everything. Like you're paying for like a half dozen different SaaS tools. You can just consolidate them all with high level. That's why it costs $100 a month. But I just had a client call this week and they were asking me like, yeah, but how much does it cost once you have like 10,000, 20,000, 50,000 emails in it? I'm like, the same. It only costs $100 a month, no matter how many emails you have in it, no matter how phone numbers, contacts, users, unlimited users, people. Yeah. It's really powerful and it doesn't scale. Yeah, there are some consumables like Sends because they work through Mailgun and Twilio. So like, but it's dirt cheap for 1,000 emails compared to everybody else. And I like it because it's the cheapest and most powerful system I can find. So check it out at danchez.com/high level. Take a 30-day trial extended from 14-day if you go through that URL and see if it fits for you in your company. But let's move into the everyday AI segment and talk about how AI is helping us in our everyday lives. Do you want to kick it off?
Just a simple one. Man, Gemini's photo, just uploading photos, like I just need this photo tweaked quickly. I don't need to open it up into Photoshop or some editor tool. Hey, I need the headshot of this guy. Can you remove this person and align his head? It's like, it does such a great job when you give it a photo to just change minor things and keeps the person looking the same. I used that this week and that was incredible. I mean, I literally did it on the fly in a meeting and the person's like, wait, what? How did you do that? I'm like, oh, well,
Magic.
There you go. Yeah,
I'm
magic.
just that good.
Exactly.
It's called ChatGPT. Did you use ChatGPT's
Gemini for
Gemini?
sure.
Yeah.
I needed it
Nano
quickly.
Banana is definitely the scalpel where it can more it can more fine tune the thing than ChatGPT. ChatGPT will take liberties, and you're like, no, I just wanted you to remove the thing. I will say that I'm using Claude, Gemini, and ChatGPT, all of them now, pretty consistently. ChatGPT is still the daily driver, but all three are pretty much in my workflow pretty consistently now. That's a very big change for me this time last year. I'm using the different strengths of them a lot. But it's funny, I just did something similar with the image. I made my wife, Amy, really liked this image that I'd seen multiple times on the internet, but she loved it so much. She's like, man, I just want to hang this on the wall. Because it was kind of like, it was one of those, it wasn't a meme. It's like, it's a social image of somebody that wrote something to teach writing. And it kind of shows like how sentence variety makes something beautiful. It's like, hey, here's a 5-word sentence. Here's another 5-word sentence. Can you hear it? Can you hear it starting to drone on? And it's like 5-word sentence after 5-word sentence in a paragraph. It's all highlighted red, kind of like, it's not good, right? But then he starts varying the sentences and with a really long sentence that really hits. And it just, man, you could just feel it. And it's like highlighted to show you the different lengths. She liked that a lot, but it's like it's a social post. You can't print that. It's going to be all pixelated. So of course I just taken it to, I think I did it with Gemini. I was like, hey, blow this up a little bit, change the font to a serif font to make it a little bit more sophisticated. And instead of highlighter, make it feel like a little bit more watercolory, instead of a highlighter, put some watercolors, keep the colors, keep the same flow. And then I used another tool to I can't believe you could do this for free, but you could just take an image and just be like, hey, expand this and make it look nice.
Really?
Yeah.
What is that tool?
I don't know. I just Google search it and find it's the same. I use the same one every time, but it's pretty good. It's like AI image up resolution or something like that.
Wow.
I'll find it and I'll send it to you. In fact, I'll link to it in the show notes for everybody else who's wanted to do it.
Sponsored.
I'll show you the free one that I'm using. And it's not the perfect, but it's way better than just
pixelated
artificially doing it in Photoshop and being like, oh, increase the size. And it doesn't. It just doesn't do it. But you can increase the resolution size now with AI pretty realistically. And so I did that. And then I just sent it to Walgreens, went and picked it up. And she's like, oh, you made it. It looks so beautiful. And now it's hanging in our wall. But AI was a big part of helping me flip it fast. What's your next one?
My next one is just dealing with employees and needing some feedback about, I needed language to help coach a manager on why management styles need to shift. And it was helpful to chat with ChatGPT about somebody who I have a lot of frameworks, right? Like The Ideal Team Player by Patrick Lencioni, great book, Humble, Hungry, Smart, and just kind of trying to analyze, okay, where is this person at? I had a cross reference to go, where is this person lacking in dealing with their employees? And I was able to narrow it down. It gave me language when talking to the person. And I won't say AI helped me help that person see the woes of their ways, but
it helped you navigate the situation, right?
yeah, totally. Interpersonal issues and you need some feedback loops, it's great to talk to AI and be like, what is language that I need to have of what healthy leadership looks like in dealing with your staff? What's a good picture of that versus not a good picture of that? And then you kind of compare and contrast what you've seen, what you're reading, what you know from personal experience, and try to give that feedback. So that was helpful.
Yeah, it is really helpful. I find anytime I'm in like a situation, it's a people problem. I just explain the situation to ChatGPT. I'm like, here's the situation, here's the goal. What options do I have?
Right.
Show me the different doors I can take and what show me possibilities maybe that I wasn't thinking of. And sometimes the option that is the most reasonable one is the one I already had in my mind, but sometimes it opens doors I didn't even know were open. And
Wow.
man, it makes life easier to have the
Doesn't it?
other doors to open, because sometimes you're like, I only see one way forward, but it's not a good one. I recently I feel like everyone's up to their prices on oil changes, and I'm like, screw it. I'm changing my own oil. Not the first time I've done it, but like I have 3 cars that I'm managing right now. And so I'm not going to be paying $100 to change the oil. I'm just going to do it myself and buy the stuff. So I'm just going to buy it all now, and the jack and all that kind of stuff. But of course I have to buy two filters for 2 of the cars. And I go into O'Reilly and I'm looking at like dozens of filters. You're like, I don't know. And they're all in freaking numbers. None of them are self-explanatory. So I just take a picture of the whole wall, give it to ChatGPT and be like, I have a whole project. So it knows my cars and models and all the miles and all that kind of stuff. I'm like, which ones do I need to buy? It's like, well, here's good, better, best for you. And here's the numbers you need. I was like, great, picked them up. I had them check before I bought them. I'm like, can you check to make sure it's good for these cars? And they checked out right. And I installed them and now they're working. So it's like, man, that was fast and easy. Before, it would have taken forever for me to figure it out, because you would have had to take them down, read the little fine print, and be like, does this cover Toyota? Or I would have just had to talk to them at the front desk, but they were stacked with people on the line. So AI, it helps. Poll of the week, I went and asked marketers. Actually, I haven't seen the poll, so we're going to look at this together to see what they voted on. I said, marketers, are you vibe coding yet? I had only 36 votes. Come on, people. I need to advertise this one better. I usually get like 100 or 150 votes, but only 36 votes. But I guess it makes sense. I don't think a lot of people are vibe coding yet, so maybe it speaks to that. But here's the breakdown. I gave it every day, weekly. I tried it, and last option is nope / what's vibe coding. And here was the breakdown. Every day got 11%. It's like, okay. Weekly got 25%. I've tried it 42%, and nope, what's vibe coding is 22%. So that kind of gives you a good breakdown. It is very early for this thing. So if you're someone who is like, man, I was late to the AI game, but now I see it. I've seen the writing on the wall. I'm trying to get all in. Where can I get ahead? This is where you get ahead right now. Because even my crowd of people on LinkedIn are very AI heavy already. Right. So if only 11% are saying every day and only 25% are saying weekly, and like the vast majority are I've tried it once or nope, what's vibe coding? Right. That tells you, and I have a bunch of like SaaS marketers too, like a bunch of people who work in tech in marketing. They're on the edge. This is the early thing right now. You could literally, if you wanted to start a podcast or build a profile around a thing, like a major trend within AI, because AI is so big that there will be major trends within it. If you wanted to ride that wave and build your profile on something like vibe coding for marketers, that phrase, that could be your thing. That's a trend to jump on. That's not going to go away, and it's not going to die anytime soon. It's going to be years in the making. It's like we're looking at like a new category of AIs. Like it's going to be even bigger than like social media. Big category. So be the Instagram person. Think about how big Instagram is and how many Instagram people there are. That's how big vibe coding will be just within marketing. So that's an opportunity. Lots to learn. You will have to be fairly technical, more technical than people will have to be later on because you're on the early end of it. But that's what I'm seeing with polls like this and where I'm predicting this thing's going to go. Have you tried it yet?
I did one thing where it was kind of like a GUI system for trying to vibe code, but it was very much just like explain what you want me to build and I'll build it. I've been playing this game on my phone that's a rage bait game. It's really simple. It's basically like 2D, but they predict what you're going to do when you see a problem to solve and they change it up on you last second so you die. It's the most.
I didn't know about games like that.
Oh man, it is
Oh
so
man.
fun.
Yeah.
So I used some vibe coding to try and recreate that game. And because it's so simple, I mean, every screen level is only two colors, your little guy and like what you're jumping on top of. So I tried I tried vibe coding to create a game like that, and it made it.
I think it's trying to find the useful applications that you use over and over again. Right now, the obvious one to me, because marketers have to do this all the time and it's a struggle, is just creating landing pages. Like I have to make landing pages or funnels
100%.
all the time. Very frustrating. Even I'm a designer who knows how to code, who has great drag and drop systems. Takes me 4 hours to make a new landing page from scratch. And then you make one good one, you duplicate it over and change it. It takes forever. So that's the major thing that I'm using it for, is just to build microsites and landing pages. But I'm slowly starting to do more. Like even on my sites, I'm like, oh, I would need a plugin to do this in WordPress normally.
Right.
I'm like, oh, can you do this real quick? I need a pop-up that triggers after 11% scroll and only shows to them a few times. So I'm just giving the parameters that I want it to do. And I just need a button on it. And here's the text. And then bam, dang, it's there and it looks good.
Also, if you want to play that game, it's called Level Devil.
Level Devil.
And it's basically a little guy trying to get out of hell. And the devil's keeping him trapped. So every time he completes the grouping of levels, he kind of like taunts that he has like back to Earth there, but you can never reach Earth. It's so funny.
Yeah. I find a lot of game that people test with vibe coding situations. A lot is Vampire Slayer, because that's a really simple game where like vampires are coming at you and you have to shoot them and turn around and all that kind of stuff. And you have different powers and upgrades and different things. So I've seen that done a lot of times. But games are fun. They're a good way to test to see how good the systems are. But I think over the next few months, I'm going to be exploring to figure out like what are applications that marketers can do. One big thing that I know has been a big thing in marketing, in content marketing specifically, is building little tools, calculators. Think about your audience and little tools that would be helpful for them. You could probably just vibe code them now. And build little landing pages for these tools, not things where you need whole login systems. Think about like the micro tools you can start building a whole plethora, a dozen different little micro tools that you don't need a login for. Like I just mentioned one, that the image upscaler thing, like that's a micro tool. I didn't have to create a login for it. And every tool that forced me to make a login before I did it, I just gave up on. So I'm like, nah, you're just going to bait me into paying for something. I ain't doing it. So I finally found the one that was ungated. Those are going to be helpful tools for you to build for your audience, at least for the next year and a half, because then they'll just be vibe coding their own soon, but they're not going to be for any time. So that's a great play we could be making right now with the vibe coding tools. But I'm going to be exploring a lot, so expect to see more applications for vibe coding coming up. All right, viral post of the week. And this is kind of like just the cherry on the top that kind of shows that vibe coding is going to become a thing. But the man who invented Node.js, which most people here probably don't know what that is. But JavaScript has been like the dominant like code language of the last 10 years. I remember when it started in 2015, I had a technical friend who's like, dude, if you want to become a developer right now is the time, because JavaScript is it. Very few developers are doing it. It's the future. I was considering moving into actually being a developer myself, like a front-end developer, designer, instead of a marketer. He's like, now's the time, man. You could ride this wave into, I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad I picked marketing. But Node.js became the backend system for JavaScript for a lot of really awesome applications. So the guy who invented that whole system declares the age of humans writing code themselves is going to end.
Dang.
So this is a mastermind software engineer. And he's like, dude, it's over. We're in the last leg of humans writing code. This is going to be a thing. It doesn't mean that software engineers go away. They'll just be co-creating this stuff with agents moving forward. And they'll be co-working with agents in order to get these big applications done. But I think it goes to show that this thing is changing fast. And like I said, like copywriters have felt the AI change. developers are feeling it right now. I even had a friend who's more familiar with what's going on with the devs. I won't say what company, but he's like, dude, I thought it was going to be the entry level people gone, but the entry level people actually can code as well as a mid level person. So they're hiring more entry level people because they cost less.
Cheaper,
And
yeah.
it's the middle people that are actually like having a hard time finding their way because they're not good enough to play at senior roles to fix the problems no one can fix. But they're only just as good as what the entry level people can now do with vibe code.
Wow.
So they're having a hard time because they're not quite skilled enough to be considered senior and fix the hard middle code problems between systems. I'm like, ooh, this is rough.
Wow.
I don't think marketers will have that problem, but maybe, I don't know. If enough entry level marketers are really AI savvy, then maybe those first year marketers will be able to outrun marketers with 5 years of experience. Don't know. You'll have to depend on the things that are uniquely human in order to make a difference. Like for you, Trav, your relational skills are like next level, and you can't vibe code your way to that. You can't. As good as ChatGPT is coaching you through it, like that might accelerate your leadership growth, but it ain't gonna make the bigger difference.
Yeah, it's definitely a skill I don't take for granted right now.
It is a big deal. So, if anything, we need to become more technical and increasingly more human in our way we approach people and the way we approach problems and the way we even approach AI. AI, as technical as it is still very much a creative art. I don't know if you feel like it this way. I find some friends are going into it on a very technical. They want to understand how it works and why it works. And I'm less interested in that. And I'm actually just exploring like, how do I get more reps using it so I can intuitively navigate it and get more outputs out of it faster and better than I would have been able to before. But I feel like it's a much more intuitive game and creative game than it is actually a technical game.
Wow.
How do you feel about it?
I mean, I don't know. I lost what you were saying. I was thinking of Elon's, what's the neck surgery thing where people are putting in, what's it called? It's not Starlink, but the surgery where people getting the robotics put in their neck to help them like get paralyzed and help their brain use.
I'm like blanking on the name.
So I was thinking of that and how the only way you're going to be able to update being better with people is maybe getting that surgery. The only way to get more human is put more AI in your body. I got distracted.
That's what it does.
What's it called? Neuralink. I'm like, maybe that'll
get a Neuralink implant.
High level developer, walking. So you become an exec level developer.
Will you get Neuralink?
No, but yeah, that goes to a whole other. My brain went to a whole other subject where
I'm no too. I'm just curious to see why you wouldn't get Neuralink.
Just because I don't think I need it yet. Like if I was paraplegic or quadriplegic and you were like, hey, 80% chance this is going to be able to help you move your arms again, or at least your legs or something, I'd probably get it for sure. Yeah. I mean, I
know it's a slippery slope though. So I'm like, somewhere's the line's got to be drawn because this isn't okay. Right. We're starting to change too much. But we'll see. The future has some interesting possibilities. And for sure, in the short term, it's going to be agents.